Hello, and welcome to the Warband, your one-stop source for absolutely positively nothing in particular. My name is Quad. As always, I'm joined by my esteemed co-hosts, Drew and Jester. Say hello, people.
Hi, people.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen.
All four of you.
Yes, all four of you.
Hi, Mom.
And our biggest fan, who shall not be named,
Hi,
because
our
you
moms.
scared Drew.
It's
Yeah.
all three of our moms, and then Eggy.
I'm not letting my mum know how to do this.
Bold of you to
Frozen.
assume my mother knows what YouTube is, but anyway. But yeah, so today we have an exciting docket of nothing.
Yep. We have these scripts that are blank,
Yeah.
and
I
just
also
says Quad
don't-
demands a script.
Though I do have an idea, because I did come across something on Reddit the 2 times I looked at it.
Oh?
Fantasy races in World War One and World War Two.
Oh, God.
I mean, actually, I remember in like Pathfinder that you can basically go to a plane, like one of the planes you can go to and or end up in, and like with a random like mishap, is basically World War One France. You can just appear in the middle of the trench, and they're like, "What the fuck?"
That'd be awkward.
Yeah,
But it'd be pretty fucking great if you're a wizard. Or a necromancer.
Artillery! Oh shit, I'm getting artillery!
I am the artillery. Pardon.
Until you realise their artillery is 100 feet, your artillery is 100. Their artillery is 1,000 feet, your artillery is 100 feet. I am outranged by their wizard. That's not a wizard, that's artillery. Whatever it is, I'm outranged!
And he can fire more than 6 times a day.
Fuck you. I'm sorry. I have problems, okay? It's hard getting it up in the morning.
See that? Shut the fuck up. See, that's when you're relegated just to point defense duty. You protect the important people.
No,
God,
it'd be great if you were a necromancer. It's like suddenly, oh yeah, the entire wave is dead. Bitch.
Hey man, that actually happened. The Attack of the Dead Men.
Yeah.
Lovely story. Leave it to the Russians, man.
To the Russians.
Getting gassed and then charging anyway.
It's a minor puking vomit and blood is only of a minor convenience when you serve the motherland.
Vomiting out your lungs. I've had worse. It's okay.
At least I have dinner tomorrow.
Yeah. At least, yeah. At least we're not in the bread line.
I have vodka and potatoes. I can live off that for the next 10 seconds.
Vodka is liquid potato.
The colonel told me if we make charge into gas, we get vodka, so we charge.
Yeah, ain't nothing wrong with that. It's a simple enough order.
That is a good question, though.
Oh boy.
The enemy uses gas attacks. You send in the anti-shock troopers. They give 0 shits.
Oh, I was like, what the fuck are you talking about? It makes okay.
You don't know who the anti are?
No, I know what the anti are about. I was just like, we diverted off of D&D, and I was just like, what the fuck? And I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, okay.
Originally,
The thing
do
with
you guys remember? We had such hopes for these podcasts. Like we were gonna do them regularly once a month. We weren't sure when, but we were gonna do them once a month. We'd record multiple times a month, and then we'd release them once a month.
Do you remember? Yeah.
I was expecting once a fortnight.
Do you remember when like I had the bold hope of actually getting together beforehand, like actually like trying to figure out what we're gonna talk about?
Yeah,
Instead of
like
just,
you legitimately wanted to have like not necessarily a script, but a topic list.
Well, not even that, but just like something to like look at if we had like absolutely no idea like what the fuck we were talking about.
Yeah.
You know
Well,
what?
we don't. We still don't. Yet we'll still fill like 4 hours of conversation.
Yeah.
No, I have an idea. I know what can save us. Roll 20 and it's time placement thingamabobby.
It's we create a game just called the podcast.
Yeah.
That's
no,
not a
I-
bad
no.
idea.
Yeah, and that way we can like the podcast. You can have like for those people who actually like watch it instead of just like listen to it, we can all be in like roll 20. We can like draw shit To make our point,
Make
Jester,
us all co-GMs.
Jester draws the dick. We instantly get banned.
I
Yeah,
swear.
no, speaking of
What's the
Roll20,
name?
have you seen one of their newest free modules?
No.
It's
What is it?
5th edition D&D, and it is Camp Clearwater.
Wait, hold on. Really?
Yep.
I'm like, wait a fucking second.
It's a horror
Where?
D&D.
How does that work? It's D&D.
Apparently it's just one of those monsters that's like from another plane. You can't kill it without doing a certain thing.
Hold the fuck on. Wait, just a goddamn
That
second.
wouldn't work for the people in this party because everyone we play with either, if they can't fight it, dies.
Yeah, hold on. Like, what the fuck?
I wasn't
Also, can I just
recommending
say,
it for the Warband. I was just saying it's rather interesting.
Instantly going off on another tangent, you know, like, fuck buying shit on Roll20.
What?
Like map packs and shit, like, that's okay. No problem. But fucking, I don't understand why anyone would ever purchase, like, a book on Roll20, on the Roll20 marketplace.
Well, that's a question. If you buy a book, does it come with its own compendium?
I don't think it does.
Then there's no point.
Like, that's why I'm like,
I can immediately see who's not going to be sponsoring us in the future.
yeah.
Listen, I will gladly... I'll point out Roll20 as by far the best. At least, unless you want to drop like a few hundred, like 100-ish bucks, it's the best in the business. And if you want to just have a quick, casual, any kind of game, Roll20, especially if it's D&D. Like, you can get a D&D game going in 5 minutes.
Yeah.
With literally nothing. You'll have to do a lot of theater of the mind, but...
Yeah. No, I get you. Man. Oh, dude. Did you see what Roll20 put on their merch list?
What?
This shit had me laughing so hard. Hold on, let me send this to you. This shit had me dying. I'm putting this... I'll send this to both of you. I want to see the person... I want to see someone wear this. Esports?
How does that work?
I don't know.
That's
Do they
a
like-
really nice shirt. I might end up getting one.
It's $60.
Never mind, I'll never get one.
Joe, should I get it for you?
No.
Should you be my
$60.
little, should you be my little girl again?
No.
Who-
What?
like,
No.
Who the fuck has... Which esports team out there is sponsored by Roll20? I need to know. I need to know.
World wonders.
But no, getting off Roll20 for a minute, you know, guys, it's been interesting, you know, looking back on things. A lot of things have changed since last we gathered for a podcast. A lot of shit happened.
Yeah, it's been, what, 3 years?
Yeah, but no, like, a lot of shit's happened, like, you know, the Trove went down.
Yeah, the Trove's been down for a month, hasn't it?
Trove's been down for a month, and it's so weird, like...
Just so you know, government and copyright, we never used it once.
Yeah, no, we never.
We would
That's
never.
Don't do piracy. Piracy is bad. But
Yeah.
with that being said, it is a... Well... I felt frustrated when I saw it, because I was like, okay, who is responsible for taking it down? And I looked up and I was like, oh, it's this asshole. Some whiny-ass, like, bitch. And I know he has plenty of simps out there, so he can go fuck himself, but, like... Basically, a really shitty game designer got pissed that no one was buying his games, and he found his game on Roll20, on the Trove. Yeah, on Roll20, as if. But found it on the Trove, and he got mad, started a petition, Trove, got taken down, and he was like, alright, cool. And then, like, a couple days later, why my numbers are still low? Who else is pirating my game? I'm just like, maybe no one's buying it because it sucks.
Yeah, like, full disclosure, hypothetically, if I was to pirate it, half the time it's books I would have hypothetically owned, and the other half, books that are in, like, Britain or something would cost me well over $100 just to get.
Right. Well, here, like, my
Well,
argument...
I know. it's in a place where you can't just get it at all because for some reason it just doesn't show up.
Like Australia.
Yeah.
We don't make stuff apparently. We just buy.
I mean, so my thing with the Trove is I used to, like I said, I never used it, but I knew many who did, and a very common argument I used to get, it was one of two things, or one of three things. You either had people who used it to get books that just were out of print, and you couldn't actually get anywhere else but like eBay for like a ridiculous price, or they got it as kind of like a test product, like basically because role-playing books are expensive as fuck nowadays.
Oh, yeah.
Like $60 for a book, and I don't want to drop like $60 on a book that I don't even know if I'm gonna like. So if you can get like a free PDF, try it out, and then if you like it, then you go buy it. Makes sense, I guess. The third, and I didn't know this until I heard someone tell me about it, and it made me so frustrated, was people using it solely to get Wizards of the Coast products.
Which, here's one thing. Wizards of the Coast, they make really great games. They're solid games. I don't understand. Like, they're decently cheap, too. Like, your average book is like 50, 60 bucks. You can go to Half Price Book and find them for like 30.
Sure.
Yeah, man.
Sometimes.
They're one of the few companies I'll say, like Games Workshop, they hike up the prices of everything, including their books. Some of their books are legitimately like $80.
Yeah.
Which is way more expensive than they should be, especially because Warhammer is like if you want to play Dark Heresy, if you want to get really good things, you really need the expansion books.
Yeah.
It's a bit much. You're looking into several $100s for an RP game that requires a lot of people, so you're going to be sharing this book a lot.
And then, of course, with GW product quality being what it is, I know, like, the second edition books specifically used to have, like, really bad problems with their binding.
Yeah.
So, it has a very good chance of it just falling apart on you,
Yeah, and also they don't offer an online PDF. I think they might now, but
No.
they didn't.
No, that's the problem, right, with Wizards that pissed me off because I didn't know this. Like, Wizards is one of the few role-playing companies out there that, like, you can go to, like, Drive-Thru RPG, which I use, get a book, no problem. But if you go to the Wizards of the Coast website and buy the Player's Handbook, it does not come with a free PDF. You have to buy the PDF separately for full book price.
That's stupid. That's
Yeah,
why I also use Drive-Thru RPG. Good website. Recommend it.
We're not sponsored at all, but
I know.
But it's incredibly frustrating. Where it's just kind of like, well, shit. Sometimes you just want to have a PDF because they're convenient, but it's just like, well, I'm not paying $60 twice for the same book. It's ridiculous. And so I get...
Here's the thing. The whole justification for why books like this are expensive is you're paying a lot of money to make something like this. Making books are expensive. Making large books that with really nice art is even more expensive. If anyone's listened to any of these podcasts, these podcasts are sponsored by my books. Go buy them. Link probably not in the description below.
Yeah,
but you can books like printing my small ass books in comparison to like a game book, like 200-ish pages, standard book size, couple inches. You're looking at like $5. I assume it costs to make something like what Games Workshop or something has to make for one of their standard books or codex. I'm assuming it's going to cost them $10 to $20 just to print it.
Yeah.
If they want to make a profit, that's at least they're going to want at least $40 to $60, and that's understandable. It gets annoying when it's games like Games Workshop where it's like, oh yeah, you need the expansion, and that's another $60. But with like Wizards of the Coast, like all of their rule book, I've never once picked up one of their rule books for one of their games and thought to myself, I really need another book. Like I'm more familiar with their Star Wars ones, and all of their different expansion books aren't really expansions as in it's like, oh yeah, Warhammer's like, this is an expansion that adds a different form of the Inquisition. Like, this one adds demons and incantations and things that are really, really useful and probably should have been noted down in the core rulebook. No, it adds a completely different aspect of Star Wars that involves it's literally just another core rulebook for a different part of Star Wars. You have the base one that's in the Outer Rim, you have the expansion ones that are like pirates and stuff, and you have another one that's like rebels and like if you want to do a military campaign.
Oh, that reminds me. When we get off of this subject, I want to swing back on Wrath and Glory. But you were saying, Jester?
Yeah.
I thought he had something to contribute. But yeah, no. With that, being said, also,
Jester died.
oh, he's gone.
There's Jester.
He's back. There he goes. But anyway,
Sorry.
You there, Jester?
no, you're fine.
Yeah, man. No, it's just my if I don't touch the screen long enough, it's like, oh, you're not here. Turns off.
Yeah, there. So
No,
did
you're
you
fine.
have something to say before we move off the Star Wars topic?
I got nothing. I understand. I completely agree with you. How what is it? Oh yes. How Games Workshop makes attachment books like Only War. Hey, you like the tank? We gave you a small taste of these tanks. How would you like the big one with all the proper tanks and the ability to create your own weapon variants? Mine.
And to be fair, they're doing that like nowadays with Wrath and Glory, even though it's Cubicle 7's product. I don't know, man. Wrath and Glory's been weird. I think I shat on it last time we talked about it on one of these podcasts, but like I don't know, what I said about Wrath and Glory is kind of coming true for me. Like the more books that come out for it, the more I actually like it. I think like Redacted Records is coming out like really soon, and I can't wait to buy it. It's the one that adds in like rules for building Space Hulks.
Yep.
Oh God, I'm now afraid.
Why are you afraid? Hold on.
Space Hulks are to be feared.
No,
Any sane
It's
man
okay.
should fear the Space Hulk.
But no, I remember like the book supposedly comes with like pre-made Space Hulks, like one of which is like your standard like Gene Stealer infested Hulk. You have one that's like been overtaken by chaos. You have one that's my favorite, just a playground for orcs. Like it comes with tools for building your own, a whole bunch of new talents and like everything else, and it looks really cool. I'm waiting to get it. I'm really excited for it.
I'm looking forward to their vehicle one.
Yeah, Church of Steel. That one's coming out soonish. It's supposed to come out around the same time, hopefully.
So by Games Workshop standards, 2 months later.
Yeah, right.
Or
It said a
maybe
little
never
while
at all
ago.
if we're going out their standards.
Oh yeah. So moving on briefly. Yeah. Well, now since we're on the topic of Games Workshop. Sad news today. Well, actually, sad news a while back. Games Workshop's latest bad decision.
Which one? Which one? The list goes down to hell.
Their most recent fuck up, now zero tolerance policy, cease and desist on every fan-made animation and basically content that is not explicitly licensed by Games Workshop.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind this if they actually gave a damn, but they don't, so I don't care.
No, I do give a damn, because for one, I don't think they can enforce it, because, it's fan. Two,
If you're not making money off of it, it's technically fan... Like, that'd be the equivalent of I drew something on a desk, and I showed it to my friends. A lawyer cannot come up to me and say that you're infringing on their trademark. Now, it's a lot more public when you do it on the internet, but then again, the internet's a new thing as far as legality is concerned.
it also depends on, the country you do it in, because some countries will just look at you, laugh, and then say, ah.
I mean, America
Except
does have
Russian
a
copyright
very unique.
system.
We have a very unique law. Not really a law, but essentially a. I can't remember what it's called, but you can legitimately be laughed out of court, is what it's referred to as. If a judge finds whatever you're bringing too ridiculous, they won't even waste their time with it.
Yeah. I mean,
You know what? They want to get fans, and I don't know why they're trying to piss off these guys who are giving them legitimately free advertisement.
It's good advertisement too.
Yes, you know what? If this was me, if I was by some miracle the head in the Games Workshop, you know what I'd do? First things first, I would fire the guy who came up with this idea and make it public. Two, you'd have to apologize because if you're a corporation, you always have to apologize for something. You always did something wrong, apparently, but you just apologized.
that's a whole other
Three.
topic.
Three, do a convention. When a convention comes up, do a cash prize for animators. Do three, and send out a few welcome. But get 5 judges. 4 of the judges are like the big YouTube guys to get them in, because if you bring in the YouTube guys, you bring in their fan base. Have the 5th guy be the judge from you, but tell him specifically you can only break ties.
Yep.
Those 4 guys have all the power. You only break ties. And then
Rainbow Six and Twitch do that. They have it's one of the reasons why it's still a very popular game. Is they have like competitions that popular Twitch streamers, they get paid, like they pay like $5,000 if you win a match, and then $1,000 if you lose it, and they do like rounds of best of 3. They've done it yearly. I don't know if they still do it, but I remember it being fairly consistent. It really does raise the popularity of the product, and in this case, I know people that know Warhammer only because of things like Astartes or Texas Speech. Like this, a lot of people are getting into Warhammer. It's becoming more mainstream because people who make this are putting it on YouTube, and people that normally would never even think about looking at Warhammer are suddenly seeing it, and they're liking what they're seeing. I don't understand why. I can understand Games Workshop being very anti 3D printing because that legitimately is a threat to their business.
Well, you know what? What else? Sorry, hold on. I was supposed to say. What I'll say about it, like on some level, I do understand why Games Workshop did what they did, because I had this conversation with, I think, Connor a while back, where it's just kind of like, you have, like, with Warhammer is very strange in that for the last, like, for the first 7 editions of Warhammer 40k's existence, things changed. Like, small things were most, like, retcons and new write-ins, but the whole, like, general story stayed the same. But especially, like, when 8th edition came out, and now 9th edition is here, the story is changing so much, so rapidly. I can understand why Games Workshop, from the standpoint of a company, would want to crack down on fan-made stories in an attempt to retain control of their narrative.
But they have complete control of their narrative. It's
that's
not like
what
we're
I'm
publishing books.
And that's what I'm saying. Well, I'll get into that. I helped author a fan-made book, but that's beside the point.
I will say this in the defense of 3D printing. People do use 3D printing in the defense of the 3D printing of those that make it for armies that are no longer being made. end for things that GW just no longer produces, like Battleship. I don't think GW does that anymore. Let's say you wanted to make a Tails Dwarf Army. You can't do that because they don't sell them.
Yeah.
You need legitimately.
There's
Oh,
definitely an argument to be made there, but at least, and from my standpoint of view, I can understand why they would be very uppity about someone at their home being able to print an army, because again, that's their main business, and people are skirting around the main thing that gives them money. If everyone can make the miniatures at home, no one's gonna ever buy them.
I think one of their former leads says, like, at what point will we no longer be able to sell miniatures?
I mean,
maybe
so
if
like,
they made them cheaper and actually,
yeah,
maybe
They still make them good. You can't deny
they make them
the
good. But
detail.
if I'm paying $30 for a guardsman platoon, I want them at least to have a bare paint job or something, because
dude, don't even get me fucking started on. So context. Sorry to interrupt you. Context, right? I run a guard army. Can I tell you how frustrating it is to have? So check this out. Guardsmen are a horde army, and we've been waiting for new guard models for like 13. Like the Cadian box is like 13 years old, and just this year they quote unquote revitalize the package by adding in a new sprue of like 16 different heads, which I'm not, and some special weapon options, which I'm not gonna lie, the new heads look great. The new special weapons
You
options,
mean like that penny face head?
yes, like the panty face head. But no, the heads, they look great. The special weapon options are fantastic. Now I can actually give my sergeants a bolt gun if I want them to have a bolt gun. Problem is that now it's, even though Games Workshop, if I remember right, they even said, oh yeah, by the way, this is going to be a free addition to the box. And then I was like, all right, I doubt it, but okay. I look and it raised from, like, I don't remember the conversion rate to dollars, but I remember like the box went up like £9 in price.
that's increasing the price by a good 20-ish%.
Yeah.
You
And
say
so-
that. You put it this way. You think that the pounds are expensive in America. Imagine paying from Australia.
Yeah, so hold on. Let me.
That's about $20 increase.
But no, so
I
like
was-
my problem with it was, just like what the fuck. Now I'm paying like close to $60 for a guard box of like 10 dudes when you used to be able to get like 20 guardsmen for like, half the price. But I digress. Anyway, what I was going to say about 3D printing was the most creative solution I ever saw for like how Games Workshop can make money and allow it is by essentially saying sell models. And for models that are out of print and are not being supported, which by the way Games Workshop are doing new rules now where basically if they don't sell a model for it, they don't represent it in the codex with rules. Anyway, that's beside the point.
Which, again, at least in that case, it makes sense. It'd kind of be ridiculous if you had a rule in your rulebook for a model that you don't make.
I mean, to be fair, though, like, what about the orcs? Like, the orcs have had, like, for example, the looted wagon has never had a model in the entire history of the line. It's just take a vehicle from any other faction and make it orky. And now that's been taken out.
And it has been taken out? That's ridiculous.
Yeah, they took it
What
out.
the fuck is their main APC then?
The battle wagon.
Really? That's kind of stupid.
I think.
I'm gonna go on a limb and say most people I know that play orcs, which is like 2, will probably just continue to lose their looted and just say fuck the rules, and that's just gonna be the inevitability, I think, for Warhammer in general. People are gonna be like, no, we're gonna play this edition, and they're gonna just start ignoring new editions if they take out things like looted wagon. That's just gonna be.
You know what? They shouldn't take stuff out. I understand the fairness of everything. Like, oh, you can only have so much. But no, you can have as much armies as you want. That's why it's a point-based system. You can have an entire book, an orc, every page, 100 pages, just orc figures, orc miniatures. It's like, how do you make it fair? It's point system.
Yeah.
Well, it's not even that. It's I can get, like, for instance, the Guard used to have a plethora of tanks that they no longer have anymore.
Yeah.
And Guard tanks change fairly regularly in every other codex. It makes sense. It's to not necessarily to balance the game, but as a company, some tanks just didn't sell back when they were first came out, and they were also kind of because they were pointless, and no one wanted them in their armies, so they didn't make them. And since they stopped making them, they stopped putting them in there. And that makes sense. Like, if no one's using this, don't waste time doing the rule. But at the end of the day, if they do that with more popular things like looted wagon, like that's pretty much the symbol of an orc army is looted wagons, looted Russes, just looted in general stuff. If they suddenly decide to say, well, no, the orcs don't use looted things anymore, I'm gonna go on a limb and say most orc players aren't gonna play the newer editions of the book. They'll just say, well, I'm gonna stop. Like, I'm gonna play the 7th edition. That's it now, and I will only play against other people with 7 editions. And if memory serves, Orc and Space Marines are the most common players.
Yeah. Also, by the way, I have the numbers now. So you also, So the box for Cadians has gone up from £22.50 to £29, and in dollars, that's from it used to be $36, which was the same price as the Command Squad, now to $45.
I'm not gonna look. I ain't gonna look. I know. I have a feeling that Australians. I ain't gonna look.
I can tell you what it costs in Australian dollar. Hold on, I got you.
Don't hurt me. I literally have a cousin. He has a huge army. It's beautiful. He's got bane blades.
It's so expensive.
He's got bane blade. He even got some bane blade and whatnot. He did steal my Space Marine army, but I don't care anymore.
Bro, Acadian. What's the Australian dollar?
AUD.
Well, no, I mean, like, do you call it the dollar as well, then?
We call them dollars.
Yeah, I was going to run you about $77.
Jesus. And here's the thing, and this is why I think 3D printing is going to continue, and I have a solution for Games Workshop for some reason, if their employees ever do this. But even for me, if I wanted to build a basic-ass guardsman army with just infantry, I would need like $500, and I'm not good at painting at all. So I'm paying $500 for a shitty-looking army.
Yeah.
So why would I do that when I could just pay like $50 for filament and get a shitty-looking army that only cost me $50?
I completely forgot to finish my point. I'm so sorry. But no, anyway, to keep things modern for GW, what I could see GW like, they'll probably never do this, but it would be a good way to like try to keep themselves alive and to like cut down on piracy. Why can't GW just like sell their models? Fine, but for models that they will not continue, why don't they just? I wish they would just sell the SYL files for them.
That's actually a good idea.
I think they should just do that, period, because when you get down to it, the amount of people with quality 3D printers to print something like this is few, and you can probably get a good, decent amount of money, and even then, even better for Games Workshop, you can have it put into the contract of, if you buy our STL files, you cannot sell our merchandise. Like, you cannot make it and then sell it.
Oh, I remember reading something or listening. Some guy was like, "Oh, this was when they were doing the decoration things. Like, you know how people do this awesome, like they paint and then they put it up for everyone to look and they like do competition." Yeah. I remember them in some of the locals and all that. They're like, "Oh yeah, you can use 3D printing as long as you don't buy it from someone who did the 3D printing, who made it and then sold it. But yeah, you can do the 3D printing and you can add your own stuff. We don't mind. Just don't buy it from someone else. Do it yourself."
Oh, they've gone fully back on that one now. Because now, like at their tournaments and shit, they say that like they don't even allow like head swaps anymore. Your model must be 100% GW plastic or you cannot field it, period.
Yes, but what they need to do is they need to embrace it. My recommendation is because many things, you know how when you do like a code, oh, you're given this code. Okay, what does this code do? It let you buy the code. Let's say you pay 10 bucks for, imagine 10 bucks for an Imperial Guard squad. You pay 10 bucks, you're given a code. You put the code in, it gives you a one-time use to download the entire squad of thing. You get to use it once. Then once the code's done, it's over. Then boom, you pump it through.
I mean,
$10.
if they're gonna do that, they need to do it like, oh yeah, this is gonna cost you $10.
Yeah, like I said, $10, $5, maybe that. Because they're still gonna make money off paints. They still sell a ton of paint.
I'm not gonna lie though, I was recently like considering because it like the problem is with like printers, you know, you have plastic printers, but like to get like the really fine detail, you need a resin printer. But I hate working with resin because resin sucks. It's toxic. It's difficult to dispose of. It's a pain in the ass, right?
And that would probably be a good business for, let's say, some
But-
guy who owns a resin who's probably maybe someone have a printer place. It's like, oh, you want to use this thing? They put him in there. You pay the guy like $20. He uses his printer. He handles all the mess. So all up, you're paying like you pay the guy $10. You get the thing $10. All up, $20. You got your guardsman army.
Real though, I am looking to see if like anyone I know like has or knows someone who has a resin printer because you know what I found. I'll send this to you. Well, I can't send this to you, Drew, because you have my recording. But anyway, I'll send it to Jester. Someone made something that I found it and I was like, dude, I fucking love this. It looks so cool. Drew, do you remember like a little while ago you tried to get me you tried to like interest me in like Epic 40K where like
Yeah.
the models are super small?
Yeah.
Someone made a bunch of like models for Epic 40K, but it's Epic 30K. It's Epic Horus Heresy.
Oh, show me. No, you can show it to Drew, but Drew, you're gonna have to look at it on a different thing.
Yeah, look on my phone.
All right, so here.
So you can. I'm interested in this
Like
because this is
Like
sadly
he made Mark he made Mark II, Mark III, Mark IV, and Mark V armor and like heavy weapons, melee weapons. Like he made all these different options, and that's just one file, like one picture.
awesome.
And they're in the epic scale of like 6 to 8 millimeters.
Okay.
The 9mm.
But but the problem is, you know, being that small, you have to use
Resin?
a resin printer. Yeah.
Okay. Not sure if this is the end of it, but GW has to accept it. And look, maybe GW can do what GW does and keep some of the special stuff to themselves. Maybe you can buy the Guardsman squad, but if you want the Command squad, you're gonna have to personally buy it from GW because maybe the extra, maybe you know, keep some stuff. But just allow the options to flow. Imagine how much stuff they could put in the books. How thick those books could be. You could fill the armies out to your heart's galore.
I think really what they need to do is they need to accept 3D printing for what it is, and I think they're already kind of moving in that direction, and
Until
put
now.
more emphasis on models that can't. Well, for a start, I doubt they'll ever entirely lose their 3D printing for no other reason than not very many people are going to be interested in learning how to 3D print.
Yeah, but the problem is it's getting cheaper and easier.
Yeah, that is a
Yeah.
problem, but
Or a solution.
it's still going to be effort. But so I really do think a good way to compete is keep the prices the same, but start fucking painting the models.
No, too expensive now.
I don't know
They
about
need
that
to
one,
they
man.
need
So
to
you have all
lower the
those people
price.
that like are nah. There are too many people who like lose their shit because people like painting. I get it, man. I don't want my shit
I
to come
understand.
pre-painted.
Just do that. Have it be like, if you increase it by $10 just to say it was painted, I would do that. I know I built when I got my guard army. I bought it off eBay because I didn't know how to paint, and I don't. And I suck at painting. And I know a lot of people that want to get in, but they don't want to do it because they can't paint for a shit.
That does remind me, actually. I still have my army. I have yet to buy paint.
I have to my name 3 Space Marines. No, wait, 4. One of them is custom, so he will never be able to be used.
I don't know, man. Like looking at this shit. I wish I did have a 3D printer because like Epic 40K is like cool, but like Epic 30K seems like just fucking amazing. Especially because the same person makes like he makes like solar auxilia models as well. That's pretty cool. Man. Anyway, we're way off topic.
What topic? We're just going where the wind blows.
We have the topic to be on. Yeah. Anyway, GW, fix your shit.
Listen to the 3 random guys on a random podcast. Listen to
at
us.
least
We know
they shouldn't. They're driving away customers. We'll say that. What they're doing, because
yeah,
if you're gonna piss on your fans and slap them around, you're gonna find out that your most loyal fans are gonna leaving, and those fans are the ones that are bringing mainstream. It's sure as fuck not their books, because no one's just gonna go on a LARP and say, I'm gonna suddenly pay $40 for a book. What's the cheapest one's like 30? I think the first one in the Horus Heresy is 20-ish.
Bro, I got it for like fucking $5 at the secondhand store.
Yeah.
I'll say this: if you're a fan, it's fine if the company accidentally drops something on your feed. It hurts. But if you can understand because it was an accident. Companies make mistakes. It's like, they're like, oh shit, we messed up. Let's take that back. They're like, all right, you can accept that. But if they're like doing it to each of your toes, it kind of feels like they're personally going after your thing.
Well, here's the thing, and GW is definitely doing it maliciously, because they've hired people, they've falsely hired people that did animations, that did quality animations, got them into a contract where they cannot make animations unless it's licensed by GW, and then just have them sitting on their ass. Yeah. They'll never give them funding for a project. They're just paying them not to make animations because for some reason the people in charge of GW, I assume their marketing department, just decides, you know what, if it's not made by us, it shouldn't be allowed, which is retarded for a company. Like, this is free publicity in every way, shape, or form. Yes, it gets other people, might get certain people some money because of like views from YouTube or something, but even then, that's a minuscule amount of money that you're not even paying. Like, Astartes, it has, what, hundreds of thousands of views?
I think
it's in the millions.
Yeah, so imagine if just 10% of that ended up buying a small 300-point army of their choice.
Oh, maybe if they went even into their new kill battle.
Yeah, kill team.
Yeah, imagine if they went to the kill team, because it is apparently meant to be the cheaper variant for new people. Imagine if they just purchased a few kill team to see what it was like.
Yeah.
Or just a book, a codex, anything. Like, even if they just buy one product from GW, it's pure profit for GW. They didn't spend a dime on Astartes. But if 1 million people, 10% of it, just suddenly decided we're going to buy a product from GW, and maybe 10% of that decide that they're going to be following it, they're going to build an army, they're going to keep it up to date. That's how you get new customers. That's how you make money. I don't understand why GW is making, quite frankly, a bad business move. I mean, yes, it protects their property, but if the property loses value because you're protecting it, are you really protecting it?
Yeah. Oh man, I don't know. This is depressing. Oh shit.
Also, Quad. I don't know. I know Jester and me have played this. Not Epic 40K, which is a fun fucking game. It's also simple. Until Jester comes up with the bullshit of like, oh yeah, here's the Zinc shit.
Oi! Hey, I beat you fair and
Because you
square.
suddenly realize you can summon demons.
Yeah, that was fun. Hey, I only summoned them halfway. To be fair, that had nothing to do with the victory. Those armies had... that side of the army were just taking pot shots at each other and no one hit.
Yeah, but it's not Epic. It's Warhammer Armageddon, which was apparently a strategy game. It's a very good strategy game, too.
Yeah.
I will mention this. You're going to try Kill Team. It's short, simple, and we can have a bit of fun about it.
Well, Kill Team is nice because it's just designed like you're supposed to be able to play. Like in theory, you're supposed to be able to play it with one box.
Yep. Kill Team's nice for no other reason than it's kind of a throwback to Necromunda and Mordheim, games like that. Small squad units that are able to get really cool shit. Which, by the way, we need to get Necromunda up and running.
Yeah.
Waiting on you, Quad. You're the one of it.
Someone else is more than welcome to.
I mean, I want to be able to do it, but I couldn't get the maps to load on Roll20.
Okay. I see.
Though,
also,
to be honest, if your tabletop simulator works, they have like all the box sets. And again, Mordheim, I believe, is not being sold anymore.
No,
they have all the box sets for Mordheim and stuff available now, and I honestly think they've lost the copyright to Mordheim the game.
They might
have. Mention this. True. Safe to assume my warband and your warband and Mordheim walked out with plenty of loot and
let's be honest, we were the two kings there.
Yeah, just what moved in, shut up everything.
When Quad died, there was no one else to compete with us. Both Ohm and
bro, what do you mean? I wasn't competing. I was just there to like get
the only one with a power rating considerable to us.
I was getting crumped on.
I really feel bad about that, but
it was scary though. Whenever the fights were. When Drew and me were fighting together, the thing was, what did I lose? Did I make enough profit just to come back to this?
That's the thing about Mordheim. I really, really love it. It's a fun fucking game, but it punishes people if you don't play it. If you do a long campaign, it punishes anyone that doesn't play it.
Yeah.
And on one hand, the counteraction to that is, in a single game, a warband can get royally fucked.
Like, so my thing with like Mordheim is I don't think Mordheim or Necromunda, like, it should be one of those games where, like, if two people get together. No, I think like it should be a thing like with a weekly time, everyone shows up and then we like pair off.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing about Necromunda, and here's what I like about it, and I've told you, and I believe I went more in depth with Jester, with how the gangs work, and how I really, really want to play the Enforcers, and how they work is, it doesn't matter if my Enforcers die. Yes, they lose experience and shit, but I get them back, and I don't have to worry about feeding them, I don't have to worry about half the shit gangs have to worry about. If anyone gets too powerful, I can come up there as an Enforcer and just, well, what? I don't care. You do.
Yeah, he doesn't care, but me and Quad will.
Yeah, it's a good equalizer.
Well, there goes me gang boss with about how much experience.
Yeah. Like, oh yeah, you lost your Enforcer with 3 games worth of experience. Yeah, but you lost, like, half your gang's equipment.
Huh.
That's Forces, cool. That's why the Enforcers feels like it's someone who should be in the callback session. Like, someone's a bit too powerful. Anyone can be an Enforcer and just try and bring him down level.
Well, that's the thing, though, is they don't get as much they don't get as cool of the equipment and as variety of equipment as gangers, and they get they only have like 4 maximum, I think, is the models they can bring.
I
No,
Yeah,
the Forcers have less than a gang.
I don't remember, honestly. Also, just to check that one out. I really hope Tabletop Simulator will work on my new laptop. Because if it does, and I can actually run like some of the more complicated shit, I want to do that. And in fact, I might even have to demand we do that.
What?
I'll send it to you.
Holy Shan Kalara.
It exists.
You're
The
shitting me.
hell?
Look
I
at it.
wish you didn't show me that, because I really want to just download that now on Tabletop Simulator.
Oh,
The hell is that?
it's what do you think it is? What does it look like,
I
man?
know what it is, but the hell is that?
It's beautiful, is what it is. Now, if only
I'm
they had
terrified.
custom, because we must war.
Question is, what's everyone's armies?
Isn't it obvious?
Yeah, you are Zechian.
Well, but no, excuse you. We're talking about 40K or 30K. I mean, I think I know what like Drew. You seem like you would be an orc player.
Who?
You seem like you'd be an orc player.
I am guard through and through. I'm deeply insulted.
I mean, like I'm a guard player. I say you'd be an orc player because you just have like that touch of like sadistic glee in destroying your enemy that orcs have.
I do, but I am
I mean-
by far I'm a
But are you infantry guard or mechanized guard? That's the difference.
I have a different company per thing. I have
'Cause I'm
I have
like,
a entire. I built a regiment that has essentially everything in it.
I see.
That's anti-God. You gotta have one thing and specialize.
I have like a lot of infantry and just like one fuck off tank. It's my
So
only
let's see,
armor.
this has the salamanders, the ultramarines, the imperial fists, blood angels, raven guard, white scar, space wolves, dark angels, death guard, emperor's children, iron warriors,
Would have all of them.
thousand suns.
I think it has I think like some of the legions have like some of their specialty models missing, but other than that, like just for generic marines, I think it has all of them. I think it is all of the legions, if I recall.
Yeah, Luna Wolves,
Yeah.
slash Sons of Horus,
Oh,
Word Bearers,
yeah.
and
That reminds me, I want to send you one guys one more thing because
has the Emperor and some of the Primarchs as well.
yes. But yeah, no. Anyway, like Games Workshop just frustrates me, just like in general, because I'm just like, you have such potential to let your fans be amazing. You don't. I'm like, and part of me is like, man, I must wonder, like, do you think like some like at some point they just did it because they were like fucking mad because the fans have been creating shit better than anything they've come up with.
If you
recently?
told me that the marketing department just had a grudge against fans, which it seems that they do, that I would believe you, but at the same point, you'd think at some point, especially how public it's gotten as far as their fan base is concerned, that some VP somewhere would be like, hey, marketing, yeah, you're fired.
You would hope so, right? But
I mean, when you get to the point where your company's marketing team or legal team is actively battling fans, you would think someone would be like, I feel like we're doing something wrong here.
I mean, that's how Disney was at some point.
I mean, Disney. The thing with Disney, they are very so they have a company model that I really really approve of. As someone who's taken more than a few classes in business and almost ended up with a business degree. So not professional at all is what I'm trying to get there. I really
More
like
professional
the
than any of
models, 'cause
us.
Pseudo professional asshole.
yeah. Here's what they do. They buy a company like here's how they did it. They bought Star Wars. They bought Marvel. No Disney executives actually interfere over much with Marvel Studios or Star Wars, which I can't remember the studio name for Star Wars for the films, but they don't directly interfere with that. They're big on allowing the like they hired them, they hired everyone that worked with them, and they kept that team there, and they didn't fuck with it too much, and they allowed them to do their own thing. They made it get abundantly clear there is a line, and Star Wars, the people that ended up coming along and taking after that because unfortunately, Lucas, he didn't stick with it after he sold it. He took a rightful retirement.
Well, interestingly enough, I want to point this out. I remember hearing recently that George Lucas is the sequels
back.
did so bad. Yeah, he's basically been asked to retain creative control of Star Wars again,
Yeah.
even after he sold it.
Yeah.
You know what this is? You know what this is? This is a Dragon Ball Z. Because the guy who did manga for Dragon Ball Z, he retired. He's like, I've had enough. I finished it off. It's good. They made the live-action Dragon Ball Z movie. And he was like, okay, enough of this shit. I'm getting back in.
Yep.
I was going 1 week!
Man, but no, I have to. Sorry.
My bad. I'll let you continue.
No, I was going to say one thing I have to say though. I did like a good piece of news I remember hearing. I was like, did anyone else hear like the rumor? And this rumor I sincerely hope is the truth that they were going to retcon the entire sequel trilogy and
There is a
remake it.
petition for it.
There's a petition for it. Yeah.
There's a petition for it by a large fan base, but I doubt they're going to do it because Kathleen Kennedy is still in charge of it, and she loves the sequel trilogy, and is going out of her way to destroy anything involving Luke Skywalker.
Which is weird. Why?
Because as far as I'm aware, Luke Skywalker is not one of her made characters, and therefore he must die.
But he did die.
Yeah, in a very bitchy way.
I mean, I can respect the way Han Solo had fun. I can understand that.
Like-
but...
Go ahead.
I'm sorry, man.
Here's the thing.
I haven't watched the last. I'm a big fan of Star Wars. I love it. Drew, you know how much I love them. You know how much a big fan of Star Wars I am. I have not watched the last episode. I have not
You
watched
don't
the last
want-
movie.
You
I
don't
watched
want
it
to.
entirely because a friend of mine paid me to watch it. He
I
invited me
heard.
out. We had dinner. He paid for dinner and he got to pick the movie. That's it. Both of us regretted watching it. It's
Is it true they have a horse charge in
Yes.
space?
yes.
Yes.
Oh,
Man, here's my problem with the Star Wars movies, right? Like, look, this is my opinion, and I can get roasted for it. I don't care. Here's how I feel. Like, Episode 7, by itself, is, if not good, a decent movie. I can
have
watch Episode
very
7.
few qualms with Episode 7.
I like Episode 7 because, like, to me, Episode 7, it plays very strongly off of Episode 4. But, like, so here's my problem. I thought the Star Wars, like, the new trilogy had so much potential because I don't know about you all, but, like, I'm a Star Wars fan, but I can't watch the original trilogy anymore. Like, and it's not just because like the special effects or like the movie looks old, but it feels old because in the 70s when they've made those movies, the way you told a story in a movie was different.
Yeah.
And so
I
like,
can get
the-
that.
like
It's
the plot and the story feels like a 70s movie,
Well,
and it didn't age well.
I think it aged fine. It's just one of those things where it's like it's in a style that isn't done anymore. it. I feel like if you watch it and then not very many other movies, like if you watch it, then Lord of the Rings, you're not gonna have too much of a problem. It's just as more movies come out, you get further and further from the kind of storylines that Star Wars and Lord of the Rings came out of. Like Star Wars was, and like the original trilogy anyway, was always the hero's journey. The Luke Skywalker from pleb farmer to knight in shining armor that rescues the princess and then goes on to become, the savior of the Republic.
Yeah.
In none of the other trilogies had, like, the prequels was essentially exactly what they sound. They set it up. It was the prequels.
Yeah.
And I think they did a good job of setting it up. The first one was not entertaining, and the first half of the second one shouldn't have even been released yet. Like, the third one is one of my favorite movies.
Yeah, I think, like, Revenge of the Sith is great. But, no, anyway, just let me say this. So, I liked Episode 7. Episode 7 was good. Story was a bit touch and go at times, but it was solid enough to be... It was a solid... by itself, kind of okay movie. But you could tell it was setting itself up for a trilogy. And it was going to be good.
Yeah, it was a very safe
it was going to be past. Yeah.
But it was good.
Yeah, it was good. It was decent, at least. I'll say it was decent. Despite,
I mean, I put it this way: I could go to the movies, eat popcorn, drink, walk out, and be like, that was worth it.
It was better than Episode 1.
Yeah, and the one thing that
so I don't care what people say. I enjoyed Episode 1 because you can't tell me when Darth Maul came in, you didn't feel.
Okay, there's one good scene in the movie.
The only good scenes are with Liam Neeson, but yeah.
Also,
anyway.
I was about to say, awesomely, Jar Jar Binks actively makes me laugh.
But no, anyway.
He is a true Sith Lord! I do not care!
Anyway, with Episode 7, one thing about the Disney movies as well, like, at least it looked fantastic. But, like, Episode 7 was okay. And, Episode 7, it couldn't not do well. Because with the way it was hyped, it was the first Star Wars movie to come out since Episode 3. It was going to blow up. It could have been the worst movie ever made, and still people would go watch it.
But it was a good enough movie that people had faith in it.
Yeah.
And then 8 came out, and it was the biggest pile of shit.
Well, I think the trilogy, like, I could tell you this, and this is going to sound like, oh, well, how did you know? But no, I'm serious. I knew the trilogy was doomed the moment they announced every movie would be made by a different director.
Yep.
No, I didn't have a problem with that, because
I did.
There's been series with that. It's more common in TV shows, but it's not an uncommon thing in, like, Hollywood to switch directors between arcs or movies. It's typically not done in movies, but in theory, on paper, it shouldn't be that big of a deal. The problem is, the guy that got to place them was a egotistical asshole that didn't care about Star Wars.
And actually stated he didn't care.
In interviews, he stated, I didn't want to make a Star Wars movie, I wanted to make my movie. And he was also stated he'd never even watched the original Star Wars. He didn't know about them, didn't care about the lore, didn't even know about the Episode 7 that he was supposed to be doing a sequel off of. Which, in of itself, proves that the people in charge of Star Wars, Kathleen Kennedy, don't care about Star Wars. Because if you hire a guy who, in an interview, says, I don't care about the previous story, why are you hiring him?
Yeah. And, like, it's frustrating because, like, Rian Johnson, like, as a director, makes some pretty decent movies. Like, Knives Out was amazing. And
that's probably the reason. They're like, if we get this director, immediately it will drag in people.
Yeah,
it's Star
he makes
Wars.
good
You don't
movies.
have to try and drag in people.
The problem with him making good movies is he just can't make a movie off anything with an established IP. It's as simple as that. because he doesn't care, like you said. And with episode 9, I honestly like. Oh, also it's episode 8. You know, not only do you have like the problem of like he doesn't give a fuck, but he breaks so many rules that like we don't even talk about like the infamous hyperspace scene
Okay,
where he breaks the law of like even George Lucas was like, yeah, that can't happen. Why? Because if I allow that to happen, it invalidates space combat.
it invalidates space combat, and it also, here's the thing, and it was pointed up constantly. Why is there ever a threat now because of that? But we'll get off that. Here's why I hate it. If you want to add new things to Star Wars, go fucking ahead. We've had in Star... Because here's the thing. Look at Baby Yoda. No one cared. The fan base didn't care when Baby Yoda had massive force potential when it's typically not going to happen. Like, he's a baby, yet he can force choke a full-grown woman. Well,
Can lift a
it was
giant rhino.
yeah, it was done in a way that felt respectful to the material. And afterwards, the baby was nearly dead. But it was done in a way that clearly showed whoever did it did research and didn't just think, okay, it's the Force, it's my story and version of how this combat is resolved. But in episode 8, not only did they not care about how the Force is done, for instance, no, when you're fucking unconscious, dead in space, you don't just Mary Poppins your way back to a ship. It does not make you suddenly be able to
Okay,
breathe
I
in
can
space.
understand. I can think about this. I don't think I can figure out the theory to the space thing. She used force pull on an inanimate object, forcing her to go towards it.
That's not the thing, though. She got shot out into space, was out there for long enough for her body to be crystallized. Like, there was ice on her body.
Yeah, I'll just go with the Jedi survive impossible things. I'm not arguing.
They can survive. They survive shit, but at the same time, that's some level of bull. Like, you need to establish that your character is beyond powerful and, like, most powerful. Like, you need to build that up. This was Leia, and while she's a badass, she's not that kind of badass. She's the kind of person that will look Darth Vader in the eye after being tortured and spit in his face. Not the kind of, I'm a force-sensitive master of the secret Jedi ways. And it just kind of, it made no sense. And the story in general made no sense. The whole plot was, we are being chased. It's a high-speed chase in space. Here's why this doesn't work. If he had done any research at all, even watch the original movies, Rebels, every single one there, every one of their high commanders fought a rebellion where their main strategy was, we jump twice. There should have never been a chase. At most, they should have caught one ship. They shouldn't have caught their entire fleet. And the fact that they didn't just shows, what, you're retarded now? Suddenly you haven't been in a full-on Empire versus Rebellion battle and you've forgotten how to fight?
I'm confused. Why don't they just, it's like, okay, we're together. They actually caught us, because I think they can track jump. Why don't they just do this? Okay, everyone, yeah? Let's just split up. You can't follow all of us.
Yep, there's that, and there's also the fact that, again, it is well established in lore that you can narrow down where they went. And if you have a tracker on them, you can track them. Like, the Empire is one of the Empire's greatest technologies. They figured out how to make a tracking device that if you put it on a ship, you can track it through hyperspace. That was considered the only way to track a ship 100% through hyperspace. Other than that, if you go into the books, there is like a extensive math you can do. But even then, even with like the highest supercomputers they have available, they can only narrow it down. Like, okay, they went in this direction with this kind of hyperdrive. Assuming it is this, it's either here, 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 or here. And like, they even do this in Star Wars, like Rebels, like where Thrawn's like, okay, they're attacking from here and here. These are the hyperdrives they have, so their base must be within one of these systems. there's a
I'm assuming
really,
that's a lot of system.
yeah, it's a lot of systems, but he narrowed it down from it could be anywhere within 1,000 systems to it could be anywhere from 40 systems, which is much more doable to search.
Yeah.
And
They also brought into the computational fuel. Apparently, wasn't a main thing to begin with.
Well, that's what he again explains more in Star Wars Rebels. But the point is, you can track ships through hyperspace if you take enough time and resources to actually do it. But you can't just. There is no technology that's like, oh yeah, on our ship is a tracking device that can track other ships through hyperspace.
Now, I was about to say, now if they had someone, let's say, inside go in and just start pressing buttons and like put it on a wall or something, that would have stopped.
I thought that the plot twist was going to be Admiral Holdo was a traitor and was constantly giving them locations, and that's why they hadn't done a second jump, or that's why they hadn't done, because that would explain a lot. That would explain it so much. But she wasn't. She's just an idiot. But other plot holes other than that is, first off, the very first plot hole you have to ask yourself, it begins by saying the Republic has fallen. And it doesn't mention the Empire, which is still a thing in this universe. In this universe, there's 3 factions. There's the Republic, there is the Empire, and then there's the Remnant.
First Order.
The First Order.
Yeah.
Oh, what about the Hutts?
They're not even mentioned at all, but I assume they're still there. It's not like they've just...
Yeah, they don't. Yeah, it's like, that's the thing. No matter how powerful even the Empire were, they're like, yeah, we can't touch the Hutts. Why? They pay us.
Well, Vader touched the Hutts, all he wanted.
Yeah.
But
no.
I know he touched them, but he touched them, but it was more in the ways of he didn't actively piss them off, sort of way.
Yeah. So, to mildly flip back into this conversation, something I want to point out. You know, as awful as episode 9 was, and Jester, if you want, I'll send you a really, really funny clip of just the dumbest shit from an episode. Like, one line that's like, he said this. This made the final cut. This was on screen. Just the most deadpan, like...
Listen,
really
they had...
line.
Okay. In episode 8, they did a milking scene, okay? I don't think...
Oh, dude, hold on. I got you. Let me find this really fast. But no, anyway, whilst I'm doing this, one thing I want to say, I do, at the end of the day, like, as shitty as it sounds, I actually kind of feel bad for the person who had to make episode 9.
yeah, but...
Because, really, like, think about it from his perspective, because, like, he had to basically, they told him, okay, so, you need to, in this amount of time, take everything from episode 7, add in everything from episode 8. You have to use all of it. You can't retcon any of it. And using that, you have to create an ending that is satisfying, that makes sense, is consistent, and something that the fans don't have our heads for. And to be fair, I really do think that director, I don't remember his name, but I don't remember who did it, but I really do think he did try. He really did try.
Well, if memory serves, it was J.J. Abrams that made the 7, and then they brought him back to make 9 because the guy that they ended up parting ways.
Oh, I remember now. And the worst thing about it all for the guy who did 8, in 8, it closed off a lot of things. So,
yeah.
In a trilogy, you want to keep things going.
Dumbass.
Yeah, in a trilogy, you want to keep things going in 8. Maybe build upon it. Sure, close a few minor things off, but you want to build more stuff up. He just closed the doors as he walked by, like, close.
Okay, so
no, it was
so J.J.
sad.
Abrams that directed 7, and unfortunately he must have been paid an absurd amount of money to agree to it. He also did 9. So this is even worse. He set up a good movie. He set up a home run. Like, okay, it's a safe movie, but it establishes enough plot line to make it our own trilogy. I'm just gonna let someone else do movie 8. Just suddenly hears a gunshot as the director shoots himself in the writing staff.
You know what's one? You know, this is a baseball reference. Okay, I'm setting up. I'm on the third base here. I set up third base. The guy just needs to hit somewhere. The guy bunts it. The guy picks it up, throws it out. Oh no!
And then you're like, okay, now I'm gonna try and steal home base. And
All right, hold on.
it makes
Okay.
it makes me really annoyed that I didn't bother to look up the director of the Nine because I hated the movie so much. But J.J. Abrams, I want to know what happened. Like, he made a good movie for 7. 9's just a piece of crap. 9's not even like 8 is no people who just got out of writing school. They didn't even write this. It was someone from kindergarten that figured out how to make a fan fiction that wrote that story.
Yeah.
9 is just okay,
Sad.
guys.
It's just sad.
We don't want to be here. You don't want to be here.
Okay, guys, I'm just gonna go for 5 seconds to watch this thing Quad gave me. I just
yeah.
have to see it.
Yeah.
Yes, it is. It is. It's so sad. I sent him the somehow Palpatine returned.
Yeah. And and that's the thing though. In 8, the first plot hole, the Empire and Republic apparently don't exist anymore. It is the rebellion is the only thing fighting, or the resistance is the only thing fighting, which makes no sense. You destroyed a couple planets, and yes, it was the capital, but you even see it in the film.
Wait, did they destroy Coruscant?
No, they destroyed Iran. So here's how the New Republic works. Their capital switches on a time period. So
Oh, okay,
no
cool. That
one
makes sense.
Yeah, so it makes sense. It makes a lot of sense. In lore, this makes a lot of sense because one of the problems with the Republic and one of the main complaints of the people that eventually would become the Separatists was the core worlds were always more important than everyone else because they're where the capital is, they're where all the capital worlds are. So having it switch regularly makes sense. But this also means that in the fact of, oh yeah, you destroyed the capital, we don't know what system, like off the top of my head anyway, because I didn't care to read too much into it after 8, but the system that was destroyed was probably not vital. It was probably important, but it wasn't vital. And the fleets you saw get destroyed, I mean, yeah, that's a loss, but it even stated in their own, like, back compendium to it, most of their fleets are on the entire opposite side of their nation, staring at the Empire, who is the core worlds. So most of their fleet is still alive, and probably royally pissed. Where are they during 8? Where's the Empire? The Empire cannot possibly be okay with the Remnant just being like, oh yeah, we're going to be the new Empire. I highly doubt the old Empire is okay with that.
Now, and considering that, the Empire was trying to there was probably a few ambassadors of the Empire on the capital who just got nuked.
Yeah. I mean, I would be more accepting, like, it's an easy fix. Okay, yeah. The reason why the Republic can't do anything is because the Empire launched an assault sensing weakness to regain their territory. This makes perfect sense and would explain why the Republic isn't able to do anything.
So, can I just like say this really fast here, and then I'll let you guys finish. Like, I'm not a big fan of the First Order. Like, I understand why it exists, but I just want to say, like, if you talk to people, like, they're like, well, the New Republic, it was doomed to fail anyway, and I get that. Especially for, like, Watch the Mandalorian, you see the New Republic is kind of inept as a governmental, because, like, this would have been really interesting to me to see as, like, the main kind of standoff between the factions, where it's just kind of like, you have the New Republic, which has the same flaw that every single government formed off of a rebellious party after a rebellion has, where you have all these different factions, all these different methodologies and mindsets and ideals and belief systems all brought together for the sole purpose of down with the Empire. And the moment the Empire is gone, all of their commonalities go right out the window, and they immediately go back to bickering with each other about how to do things best.
Yeah.
And so the New Republic was inept, it couldn't get anything done because it was constantly bitching at itself, and it was doomed to fall eventually.
It's sad, but at least in the Star Wars universe, it's very abundantly clear that a government like the New Republic, or even the Republic in general, is just sort of doomed to fail if it does not have a rival of some sort. Because every time, in the entirety of the lore, every time the Republic does not have an enemy to fight, they begin fighting each other.
Yes.
And every single time. It happens all throughout, like, the history of Star Wars, and its long lore from, like, the beginning of the Republic to the rise of the Empire, and even beyond that, like, in the old lore, which is Legends now, the Republic fell to a new Empire remarkably quickly. Like, not in the lifespan of, like, Skywalker, but in the lifespan of so quickly, I can't remember the exact date, but, like, a new Empire came in and just took over everything in such a short amount of time that there were still Skywalkers walking around.
Yeah. But, I don't know, like, I think it would have been more interesting to see, instead of, like, them just getting immediately lanced from, not even from orbit, they get lanced from basically across the galaxy. It's like the ultimate, like, dunk shot.
Yeah.
But is it even possible to shoot weapons through
That's
hyperline?
a whole other conversation.
Yeah, it's...
But no, I just think it would be interesting to see, like, remnants of the Empire returning, basically, and they could make the argument of, hey, look, we might have been shitty, but at least we provided order to the galaxy. The New Republic that you supported are just constantly fighting with each other, and nothing is orderly and nothing is stable. We want to provide stability again. It could be an interesting moral dilemma.
It's something that's typically forgotten to anyone that doesn't, even when you read the books, as like, I've read way too many Star Wars books. The vast majority, at least human population, was in support of the Empire, and even a lot of aliens were. And if you read in the comics, some of the best storylines are about aliens involved with the Empire who join it because I can't remember what his name, but he's a stormtrooper who's an alien. He's a humanoid alien who presumably, it never goes into details of his squad, but he has a special team of stormtroopers trusted by Vader himself to go hunt down Luke. Like, he even gives him a lightsaber to capture Luke. It's really interesting because he explains the reason why he's so fanatically loyal. Like, he's so loyal to the Empire. When he's given the mission to capture Luke Skywalker, he tells Vader if he does not complete like, Vader gives him the whole spiel of, like, if you fail, I will kill you. He just returns by saying, if I fail, I'll kill every member of my squad and then myself.
Yeah.
And he's entirely okay with doing that. But he explains throughout his story that the reason he's so fanatically loyal is because he was a slave in a pit that was meant to live and die to fight other people, and then the Empire came to their outer rim world and established order and freed him. Like, the Empire does plenty of horrible things. And it does things needlessly horrible. Palpatine's an idiot. You can go on and on about that. But,
Well, he chose the quick way instead of the slow and smart way.
well, no, he was just needlessly cruel. Like, there was no reason to have a Death Star built quickly, so there was no reason to have slavery reinstated to build it. It wasn't like like, in Legends, there was more of a reason. He knew about the Yuzang Vong. But if you take out the Yuzang Vong, his plans no longer make sense. And even then, with the Yuzang Vong, it makes no sense that he didn't tell people, because that would be a perfectly reasonable excuse to reinstate things like slavery as a punishment. I can't remember who did it as a video, but someone did a video like what Palpatine should have done, and it basically explains that he should have immediately, after gaining control of the Empire, revealed the Yuzang Vong as a threat, and then use that as an argument against the rebellion, as like, oh yeah, anyone that is rebellion is just a treasonous to you because they're helping the Yuzhang Vong. And when Yuzhang Vong actually came, the emperor would have been hailed as a god because he built all this stuff and everything he did was right. Like, yeah, slavery's horrible, but without it, we wouldn't have had the Death Star in time to fight the Yuzhang Vong. Arguments like that. And it would have made it.
No, he probably wouldn't even had to have done slavery because remember he built the Death Star in secret. He did it publicly. You probably would have had thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of contractors just signing up like, take me, take me, take me.
But essentially, he made a lot of enemies by doing things that weren't necessary. Like, he went to the calamari and said, listen, you are no longer making a profit off of your ship industries. You are working for the Empire, and we're going to give you shitty contracts to make bigger ships, even bigger ships than you did in the war. But you're still going to be a part of the Empire. Deals like that kind of fucked them over. But if he did that with the argument of, we are in, like, our galaxy is going to be invaded within the next couple decades. We need these kind of contracts because you can't afford to pay for profit. You get a lot more sympathy. You'd probably get people like the Mon Calamari to do deals like that because there are people that are deeply tied to diplomacy and union and working together. They would entirely be up for willing to make it so it's a non-profit, oh yeah, we'll build military ships because it's to protect the galaxy.
Sure, but this all assumes that they believe you.
Well, they have here's the thing. He had proof. Because he wouldn't believe it for no reason. He believed it. He had enough proof that he was able to prove it to Thrawn. Because in Legends, he convinced Thrawn to kill the Jedi-led outbound flight that was gonna go out into deep space and find new places to colonize. Essentially, it was gonna be a Republic mission to go outside the galaxy and discover life.
Yeah.
And it was led by Jedi. Well, he contacted Thrawn and his species, who were in the dark space, essentially, and told them, listen, I know about the Yuzhang Vong. Here's some evidence. Here's the evidence we have about them. And you already defeated my group that was going to stop this. If you don't stop them, they will wake up their people. And we'll all die. Because they'll get here a hell of a lot faster. And that's why Thrawn joined.
Wouldn't that also have been changed if he went ahead and went, you go there, you'll die, using Vong that way?
I'm not gonna lie. I never much cared for. Oh.
Okay, I'll be this Jedi are stupid.
Well, no, I never much cared for the Legends canon anyway.
I like the Legends canon. It's interesting.
I like the Legends simply for reasons of it makes sense, and, well, especially after the new movies, it's better than the movies. Because essentially in Legends, the Yuzhang Vong were a main thing, and Thrawn was a main thing. Immediately after the Republic gains control, you have the problem that Quad points out. No one is as unified, and they don't, one of the biggest issues for the Republic is, what the fuck do we do about the Jedi? Luke Skywalker is a hero, yeah, but what do we do about the Jedi? What is our guarantee? Like, the Jedi of old were essentially arbiters of the law and can be judge, jury, and executioner if they wanted to be. They were rarely executioner, but they could if they wanted to be. Is that what Luke Skywalker is now? Is he our judge, jury, and executioner? It was a huge argument. And it ended up getting Luke Skywalker exiled from his own order because the Republic, as a government, demanded power over the order. There was a lot of interesting things that were put in those books that we'll unfortunately never see in movies. Even if you did get rid of, the Thrawn who his books by himself would be vastly interesting. The
I have movies
last
about that.
admiral who's able to turn the remnants of an empire into a deadly force that brought the Republic to its knees. Or the Yuzhang Vong, a threat that was so great it brought the Imperial remnants, multiple factions of them, together with the new Republic, and they still nearly lost.
Yeah.
Or hell, just the immediate aftermath of victory, where you have the establishment of the new Jedi Order, followed quickly by a old Force plague that drives people with in tune with the Force insane before making them, like, I believe that they exploded or they died, but they essentially end up killing a lot, going psycho and killing people. Like, that alone would have been an interesting movie to watch.
Right.
But none of that. It's instead they went. I feel like the biggest mistake they ever made was they tried to not just take the legend books and make those into movies. The Thrawn trilogy would have been an amazing trilogy to see on film.
I mean, yeah, but I think the problem with Legends, from what I know of Legends, is just kind of like, where do you begin? There's so much of it.
Yeah. There's so much of it.
That
And
is fair.
I will say
That's fair.
this. Continue.
No, just that's right. I will give outside that a degree, but I'm just gonna say, at least it gives you somewhere. If you want to start, you can start. It gives you the ability to start anywhere and work from there. But I'll end with that.
Yeah, the start I think would have been. Well, first off, I anyone that hasn't read and is suddenly anyone that for the 5 people watching, if you're suddenly inspired to go read Star Wars books, for every trilogy like Tiber Zhang that is fucking amazing, you will find 100 books that is absolute shit and shouldn't have been published. A
By the way, that
lot
reminds
of
me.
them are garbage.
Did you hear the casting was released for the Ahsoka TV series with Thrawn and Ezra?
Yeah, I don't care.
I only bring it up to you because
I stopped caring about Star Wars shows a long time ago.
you not like The Mandalorian then?
I like The Mandalorian.
I mean, I'm only bringing this up to you because you mentioned Rebels, and the voice actor for Thrawn on Rebels is reprising him for the live-action TV series.
Yeah,
I don't know. He actually looks like Thrawn if you look at him.
I have
Like, he
mixed
has-
feelings about the TV shows because Rebels I didn't really like a whole. I liked parts of it. It was very clear. It was very clearly inspired by Legend material a lot, but at the same time, it's like I feel like they went a little too kid friendly with it.
Kid friendly. The hell you on about?
No, Rebels was pretty kid-friendly. Clone Wars wasn't.
Clone Wars was not.
No,
Clone Wars-
you say that. They put a bunch of stormtroopers in a goddamn show and blew it up in space.
Yeah, that's the most violent act they did. If that was out throughout the books, sure, but I don't know how to explain it other than they made it feel almost cartoonish as they were fighting stormtroopers. And hell, they even do a throwback into it the last season where they fight some stormtroopers, and the stormtroopers comment, "I hate doing this all the time," as they get shot and go back. The stormtroopers clearly survive most of these encounters when they get shot and knocked down, because they're commenting about how they're doing this again. Like, there are dark moments, but they're spread out, and they're filled in moments in between are filled with a lot more toned down shit.
Oh, dude, that reminds me. Have you ever seen this? Have you ever seen that fan made? Sorry, I'll let you talk. You ever seen that fan made? Show where it's just kind of like the wounded stormtrooper?
I have not.
It's this fun. It's a funny ass like fan made show, like a fan made short of a stormtrooper who like survives a battle and he's wounded, but he got shot and he survived and he's wounded and he's like lying on the ground. And he calls out his friends like, "Help me, please!" And and his friends are like, "Wait, what? Help me, please!" And it's like, "Wait, you're alive?" "Yes." That's not supposed to happen. That's never happened before. You're not supposed to survive getting shot. This armor's supposed to kill you. We don't survive getting shot. We fall over and die. Why did you survive? Your armor's clearly defective.
In lore, it's actually, again, another thing I like about how Star Wars does it. They fix any plot holes they have in the original movies with the follow-up like stories that are available, and they are available on the internet for free, at least the general information. The reason the stormtroopers tend to go down after any shot to the chest is because they're knocked unconscious. It's designed to essentially deflect the blow so it's non-lethal, but
that's why, surprisingly enough, no. If you actively go, I think it's to when Darth Vader is walking in, you'll actively see him move around and squirm as they're trying to recover. Yeah, that's actually in the movie.
Yeah. Yep, they get shot, and in Legends now, in the books, they're described as like, yeah, it feels like I just got run over by a land speeder, but at least I'm alive. In fact, in one of the books, from the point of view of one of the stormtroopers that captures Leia, he's shocked when his sergeant is found dead. Like, Leia's gun was really one of like higher powered ones, and they were shocked that she had actually killed him. And he explained that in training and in live fire things, they use strug-off shots all the time. Like, even from their own blasters, you can take a hit right in the chest or even sometimes the head, and you'll get up like 10 minutes later.
Yeah, that's actually why Han Solo's weapon was actually illegal by if he went to the core wars and they found his gun, they would have taken it off him in an instant.
Yep.
His gun was too powerful, it was illegal.
If your gun can go through the armor of our soldiers, it's illegal, which is a fairly justified law.
Yeah, it's like I think there's like a gun rating where, because you can look, stop, if you walk around with a gun on a core wall, they'll look at you. It's like yeah, you'll probably see people walking with guns, but like, because you just see stormtroopers just walk by. It's like is that gun legal? Nah, I got hit by that gun like that 3 times. I'm still standing. Okay, so it's legal.
Yeah, it's it's good. I love Legends for things like that. It explains from the movie why stormtroopers fall down from getting shot in the leg, because it feels to them like they just got hit by a car.
You know, the one trope, I want to die, and they didn't do it in The Mandalorian, but I want to die so hard.
What?
Stormtroopers being incompetent shots.
Yeah, that I still don't get. Well, first...
They explained it in the first. Leia explains it in the first when they say, we escaped. The double shots. Leia actively states, no, we escaped because they wanted us to escape. She actively states that, giving the reason they missed because they were paid to miss.
They were ordered to, but
Wait, isn't that the same as being paid?
Yeah, but when you're ordered by Darth Vader, pay is no longer a factor. It's
payment is your life. I'll take that payment.
But it's that, and what I don't understand is that they do that, and the very next movie, the stormtroopers kick fucking ass.
Yeah.
Yeah, they do it in the first movie. How many stormtroopers went down compared to the rebels?
Well, an entire Death Star full of them.
Well, I meant during the opening sequence.
Fair.
I meant when those 3 stormtroopers went down and were crawling over, and then the entire ship went down.
Yeah. Yeah, no, the stormtroopers wreck shit. It's just, unless you read the books, you won't hear how much shit they wreck.
I can understand the
Which is
joke.
why-
It's funny. Mandalorian, man. When did Scout Troops, the best, because Scout Troops were good, they were better than Stormtroopers, become so incompetent and hit each other?
They even make a joke that the sharpshooter who worked for the Imperial, not Stormtrooper, he makes a joke saying he wasn't a fucking Stormtrooper. The Stormtroopers were the most elite unit in the Empire, aside from Special Forces.
I know, but Scout Troops were a tier above because they had to be on their own. They had to be able to snipe. They
They were the
better
greatest
than
assholes
Stormtroopers.
you'd find. They were Special Troop Forces.
Yeah.
And I think one of my favorite things about it is one of the excerpts of, I can't remember what book it was, but it was about the Empire had set up a base, and they had soldiers in this really large castle, essentially, with large open corridors, whole 9 yards. And the commander kept getting complaints because in the middle of the night, the scout troopers would just have races in the castle with their bikes.
Yep.
They refused to stop. And they would just wake everyone up.
You'd think you just put us out, do it outside at least.
Yep.
Ugh.
It wasn't fun to do
Start-
it outside. It wasn't a challenge.
Oh my God. You have to give credit to the Scout Troopers. When you see how the Scout Troopers just move on those bikes, you got to be like, I'm pretty decent at driving, and I'm probably sure if you put me on a motorbike and give me a bit of training, that's when I saw those Scout Troops do that, I was just like, damn. I felt that was scary seeing the Scout Troopers keep up. 'Cause you can understand why Luke did it. He's just a force, understand, but these guys are just normal humans on that vehicle.
I always wanted to see more representation of the Empire's like normal troopers, because I know they had them. They weren't like stormtroopers, but like basically Imperial Army.
Yeah, the Imperial Army. You don't see them much in the movie, but then again, in the movie, whenever you see the Empire, they're going against the main characters who are the most important people to the rebellion. So you don't send the grunts to deal with that.
I think the only time I think in movies we've ever seen the Imperial Army is like I think they show up in Solo. If I remember
They
right.
show up in Solo, and it's one of the most badass sequences in a Star Wars movie. Period. I want an entire movie that is just that is just near the intro of fucking Solo.
You know what I'd like to say? A trench-like warfare with Solo. They're fighting, it's prickling. Then you see the stormtroopers come in and they break the line, and then you just see it go.
I want to see a war movie in Star Wars, and because as awkward as it is to say, there hasn't really been a proper war movie in Star Wars. There have been adventure movies where war is a part of it, but I want to see a fucking war movie. I want to see stormtroopers, Imperial Army fighting. Like, there's actual good wars. Like, there was one war there were several wars against drug cartels and other pirate remnants that would have been great. They would be great to show, and it shows and it gives you it would give a chance for people that don't read the books to see the good of the Empire and see the because a lot of people that only watch the movies don't understand why there's a part of the fan base that is diehard loyalist to the Empire.
I will slightly raise my hand. That hand. Alright.
I actually prefer the older Republic.
No, I prefer the Empire after it's fallen, because after it's fallen, it's gotten far less races, as now they're having aliens of all kinds joining up.
Yeah.
Because they realise, we don't have enough humans. Get the aliens!
Yeah. If I would lived in the Star Wars universe, you would have seen me on the Separatist side of the war.
Yes, but I would have been on the separate side. But if I lived all the way to the end, I probably would have been Empire on the other side because now they're the separatists technically.
I mean, the rebellion.
Speaking
eh.
speaking of separatists, can we just talk about how dirty they did General Grievous in pretty much every time he's ever shown?
Except the cartoon. Oh, that
Dirty.
cartoon was brilliant.
Yeah, the Jenny Kartovsky Grievous was fucking amazing. His theme alone was beautiful, but like other times, it's just kind of like meh.
He lost two goddamn Gungans. Hell,
Gungans, yeah.
look what they did to my boy.
Yeah. Also, by the way, yeah, I actually haven't seen Solo, but I'm gonna have to watch like the Battle of Mimban.
Apparently, it's good at the beginning, and then it just.
Well, it's a heist movie in Star Wars.
Well, it's a
Yeah, but-
Wild West movie in Star Wars, and I love it. But
well, from what I heard, it goes up, and then it's a roller coaster going down.
well,
But if you like it, then
listen,
I've only seen halfway.
I will
The favorite
defend
key-
Solo because it's a good damn movie. But if you don't like westerns, you are not gonna like it.
I mean,
I
I
like
never watched it because I was part of the group. I was kind of like, I was still mad I was still pissed over episode 8, and so I just was like part of the boycott anything that they make. So I never watched Solo.
That's one reason I was pissed because I liked Solo. I love Solo. Solo was boycotted by most of the fan base because of how awful 8 was. The people, I feel so bad. Like, boycott 9. Don't boycott the independent ones. The independent ones were fucking amazing.
Dude,
Rogue One, I will say this: Rogue One was like 7. It was I could go to popcorn, eat, but the ending, man, I don't. The ending of Rogue One.
Rogue One was amazing because it was just so fun going. I remember I watched the movie. I went to the theater solely to watch people lose their mind at the end.
Why? The planet being blown up?
No,
Nah, man, Rebels getting
When-
that scene, that hallway. You
That
know what I
hallway
mean.
was
You know,
fucking awesome.
you can't. They put that in at the end, and God, whoever put that in needs a raise.
Yeah, no. What I liked most about both Solo and especially Rogue One, it showed the rebellion as it was. Like in the original trilogies, you only see the best of the rebellion. In
I will give it
Rogue
credit.
One,
That's the-
it shows what was always there in Legends and in the books, that they were a very divided force.
yeah.
That really didn't have a good side to them. They were just anti-imperial. And that's the true essence, I believe, in Star Wars. Like, the Empire isn't bad. Parts of the Empire is bad, and parts of it are good. The Rebellion isn't good. Parts of it are good. Parts of it are bad. It's heavily based off of history in, like, World War II. Britain was, they were arguably the good side. Well, I wouldn't say arguably. They're almost certainly the good side. But it's not like they didn't do any nasty things. They killed many French sailors to ensure that French ships didn't get to Germany. They invaded neutral countries. It is what it is. Does it make Britain evil?
You know what you should do, Drew? I'm volunteering you now. Run a Star Wars game where we all play Imperials.
I tried.
Join me.
Oh, you did?
Join
Oh,
me.
I didn't know that.
No, wait. Join me. I will be the sergeant. I will be the officer.
First
I-
off,
No.
Will you be my trusty right hand, Drew?
I thought you were
I
about to
tried
say
that,
be
and
my
that
truck
ended-
driver. I was like, oh.
that ended with the most awkward thing of Scorcha becoming a terrorist.
Let's
Okay,
not look like it. Let's never bring. Listen. Listen. It was a Transdotion. What was you expecting?
Maybe we shouldn't discuss Scorcher being a terrorist because he's still active service, I think, if I remember right.
He's active service,
no one knows who he
and
is.
he's moving away from Germany. But also, it was in the context of a game, and if you can't understand that, you're dumb. He was a Trandoshan who just loved to blow shit up.
And couldn't follow damn orders. Somehow my imperialistic pilot, he was a patriot, managed to become a rogue trader of sorts and had a dinner date with the enemy commander general.
You really did good work as a fake smuggler who got a date with a Jedi.
Yeah, I was the character nearly pissing himself. But I wasn't trying for this.
But yeah, no, I would be happy to do that. I'll probably run it a lot differently, and it's not definitely. Here's the thing, though, I'm stacked up on games I want to run.
Oh yeah, definitely. I know.
That's why
I'm
I said
fucking with
quad
you.
has. That's why quad you have to do it.
Yep.
Never happened, but
No.
you got to do it.
Fuck you. I heard what you said after. I was like, no.
It's too late. He agreed. True, we have video evidence.
A recording evidence of him being like, yep.
Yep. No.
I'm gonna make a gif of that.
Yes.
But yeah, no, let's see, I have the only war game, which I'm hoping doesn't end anytime soon.
We need more people for that.
We really
Oh
do.
god.
We do.
Well-
I just need one more person, but
I'm trying to find
I hate to bring it to
people,
both of
Drew.
you, but I feel like Only War is just. It's inevitably gonna die. I don't know when it's gonna die, but I feel like it's inevitably gonna die.
Well, I think with Only War, like, yeah, like the moment you started telling me, hey, I'm looking at the Order Tributoris, like second game, I was like, okay, ooh.
And and just to tell you, I've been looking at that for a while. That was even before I started working on that. At the moment Order Tributoris 1 was gone, but as I said, I have a stack of games I want to run. I'm not looking to add to it, but I have the only war game that we are currently running, and the reason why I say that I'm almost confident it's going to die is because I'm just waiting for Chase to tell me he's done.
We do have the perk thing though. Chase said he wouldn't make interesting characters. To his knowledge, he's making interesting side characters despite not saying he would.
Yeah. He
never mind.
seems interested right now, but then again, he also seemed really interested in the Primarch game when he suddenly ended it. And unlike the Primarch game, I can't keep this
I think his interest lost when an orc one-shotted him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, so
like-
I have Only War that I do far too much work for. Then after that, I have the Warhammer Fantasy one that I've put far too much work into.
So someone God damn it. Someone
Hey,
posted.
Quad, would you like to join my Warhammer Fantasy game if I did one?
I don't know, brother. School's about to start. I have I have games on my back list. Also, one is starting up pretty soon for my Tuesday group.
Oh, cool.
Oh, it's a Wrath and Glory game, Hive City.
Ah.
But anyway, no. Also, someone posted, fuck Jedi, fuck Sith. Give me Star Wars Saving Private Ryan.
Yep. I want it.
What's the matter with that man? Oh.
But
Yeah,
yeah,
nothing
no,
wrong with
I
that.
got Warhammer, I got The Only War, I got Order Tributoris Part 2. I feel like I have another game that I've just forgot. Oh yeah, I have the D&D, the World Generation game that I want to do.
Am I going to lose the other half of my body in Tributoris?
I don't know, are you going to just sit there and take explosives?
I didn't sit there and take explosives. I got blew up, moved, blown up, moved again. I never sat there. I got blown around, literally.
I mean, to be fair, you don't actually have to. I know. Like Drew told me, you don't have to reprise your character. I'm gonna be reprising Katarina because
I mean,
obviously
I'm reprising
Katarina
my character. There's
was a
absolutely
fan
no
favorite.
reason why I wouldn't. But never let Connor drive, because his idea is drive in the middle, get off. Guy on the back with the...
I know Connor said he wants to make a new character.
Yeah, I'm not surprised if he comes back, he'd make a new character. He didn't seem happy with being a combat character, even though there was combat nearly every session. It wasn't the greatest of combat, certainly. You didn't fight until you got the soldiers. You weren't fighting anything that a non-mainline combat character could deal with. But
I'm still mad. Like I know it benefited us all greatly, but I'm still mad that I got fucking whored out by Connor.
yes,
100% got whored out. For those of you who have watched if you haven't watched the campaign, I strongly recommend it. It's very fun. We'll be doing part 2 eventually. Who knows?
the next campaign of that will go infinitely better because, again, I've learned how to edit now.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll edit
shit.
some in this because I know it's just the three of us, and I have the images for Eggy's art of us, and so just in future, if you're watching this and you've seen Eggy's art pop up every now and again, like right now, wink wink, then I've actually bothered to edit this. If you didn't, I just looked at it, took a minute, and realized it's a podcast. Who gives a shit? But yeah, speaking of recording campaigns and stuff, I don't know if Jester even remembers this. Me and Jester wanted to do a campaign of the Dob War in Epic 40K.
Oh, did you really? Wow.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember what the year Darb War is now.
Badab War. Badab was one of the most devastating civil wars in the Imperium's history, besides like second to like only a couple.
Like, obviously,
yeah,
the
I
Horus
remember that
Heresy
now.
not included.
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
obviously, like you can't include the Horus Heresy, but like I'm talking about like after the founding of the Imperium, it was devastating as fuck because it was like multiple Space Marine. Like they sent a Space Marine chapter. Space Marine chapter's like, we'll be renegades now. Okay, fuck it, send another one. They're like, we'll be renegades now. Fuck it, third one, we're traitors now. What?
Wait, wasn't the Badab War in the... No, wait, no, hang on. Wasn't the Badab War the one where they sent those 4 chapters into the... Yeah, but there wasn't just simple, we're going to trade now, because Archer did it's more like, we're going to trade now. Then the Imperium was like, we're just going to slowly take away stuff, but we need this for this! We don't care. We need this.
Yeah,
It reminds me of
I will say this: the Badab War, the Imperium is 100% the bad guy.
Yeah, definitely.
They threw these people into renegade status or traitor status. There was no ifs, ands, or buts about that.
I mean, I'd be
To be
interested
fair,
to
though-
see you guys do Epic 40K. I'd be down.
Yeah.
I have the campaign notes for that, but Jester never got back to me on them.
You never gave me notes.
I gave them to you.
No, you did not.
But anyway, gentlemen, how long's the recording been going for?
2 hours.
I have absolutely no idea.
Around 2 hours.
2 hours.
Sounds like-
Seems closer to 3.
No, because we started like 11:58 was the first text.
Oh, okay.
No, we started at 9:17 or
Oh,
9:30 something. Because hold on,
Damn.
I can look at Discord at my messages.
Okay.
Yeah,
When
no,
we
that
started
seems about right. It's like 9-ish. Yeah.
Okay,
Huh.
so from your first text from...
Yeah, 9:30.
Oh wow. Okay. It feels like it's been way longer.
So it's been
Well,
about.
that's pretty fast.
It's been just over 2 hours.
No, it's been just over an hour.
So do you think we should end the thing or keep going?
Oh, it's up to y'all. I mean, I can talk for a little while longer.
We can
But,
talk about the. I can share this to you guys, and we can talk about that. You do have this, you son of a bitch.
Yeah.
Send
You're
You're an
send it to
editor
me.
of it.
What do you mean?
It's you're an editor at. I'm not gonna say your email on this recording, but have not.
I've been an editor of that. I've been an editor of that thing for a year, and we talked about the thing for about probably 6-8 months ago. I've been an editor of that thing for a long time, mate. That's not an excuse.
You said you didn't have it. You're a lying son of a bitch.
Just dox
I
him.
don't have it.
Just dox him in a podcast. I'll be right back. You send it to me, Drew. I'll be right back.
I don't have it. Also, how's that book coming along? The one with Crippler and your Neko.
God, I keep writing like a few pages and a few chapters, and then I'm like,
Where is my? I had to go get a drink. Where is my intern that can just bring me drinks so I don't have to get up from my chair?
We haven't gotten that rich yet.
I need access.
You can't afford me.
I sent you a request for access. I mean, you could just like make it to where anyone with the link can edit. You don't have to request access. It's not that hard.
I mean,
It's literally one click.
Oh.
Call it a safety
Oh, I remember this.
It's a safety precaution that I won't get rid of for school reasons.
All right, well then here, just right there.
You already have.
All right, I see it.
Be honest, I'm not a big fan of this. Because, it's too random. And I'll start the Badar War. Loses straight away. God damn it, there goes the Badar War. Badar War ended, boys.
I mean, just imagine, like, I thought about this, right? So, Drew, I need you to take a seat, buddy. I want to talk at you for a little bit. I spoke with you. Me, Jester, and Chase were talking.
Oh, God, don't drag me into Chase.
No, you, me, and Chase were talking, Drew.
I have no idea what you're talking about. I'm innocent of this.
Drew.
Is this an innovation?
No, hey, hi, buddy. Hi. How are you? We want to talk to you. And Jester is involved no matter how much he needs himself. Me, Chase, and Jester were talking about the Primarch game.
Okay.
We were lamenting over the Primarch game. Chase felt bad because he actually genuinely liked the game, but lost interest. And my only complaint with it was, I had two complaints. Both of which have kind of been solved with the only war game, in that you have the primary game felt like it was too short, and we didn't do much, and we kind of glossed over the major events of the Great Crusade. Like Rangdan came and went, and we kind of didn't acknowledge it at all. Or, murder, really any of the major battles and major events of the Crusade was kind of oh yeah, that happened. Cool.
Yeah.
I don't know. I was thinking me and Chase were like, what we should sit Drew down, ask him to reboot it.
Oh, guys are full of shit.
What do you mean we're full of shit? Wait a minute.
That is a lot of work you're asking me to redo.
But no, think about it. Imagine a Primarch game, right? But also imagine that we could do Epic 30K with it. You can't tell me you're not intrigued by the idea.
No, the Primarch game was a lot of work that I put into, and
there's a lot of lore based around it.
Yeah. I get it. It was just kind of looking back, I'm like, damn. I wish I'd known going into it that it was just mostly role leadership.
Yeah, again, that's why the Only War is lasting as long as it did, because I did it differently. I realized that it's not entertaining just to only be the guy deciding how things are going. You need to have some kind of other interaction of that. I was hoping that there would be more RP, that you guys would get into it more, and there was attempts, but I realized that wasn't going to work pretty quickly after Connor, who did, I feel like, the most attempts at trying to do RB with his own Legion and get on me with side projects, got bored with it. And now, on one hand, Connor gets bored with a lot of things very easily. On the other hand, he put in the most attempts at trying to do different things RP wise and find his own entertainment with the limitations of how that system was being run. And he still got bored with it. And Chase also got bored with it. So once two players got bored with it, I realized that clearly I hadn't thought it all the way through. And that's why Only War is set up the way it is. There are always things for players to do and actively do. And it's not just a role of leadership. Or even just RPing out your own actions and thoughts.
I mean, I think that's fair, but just like I don't know, like it would have been interesting to like how what it could have been like, because I remember I talked about like this with you when it happened. I was just kind of like, well, I feel like we're going off a podcast territory because most people don't like no one knows what the fuck we're even talking about at this point.
That's
But
why I think we should end the podcast here.
yeah,
True.
he can just edit. He can just edit this out.
Yeah, I probably won't edit this out, but for no other reason than I've recorded the entirety of the Only War series. Eventually those will start coming out, but I'm waiting until either that dies and I just pretend it never happened, or it gets to a point where I start releasing the footage.
Yeah, but I don't know. Like it was difficult because you have like characters who are just kind of like, well, I tried interacting with my sons and that was fun, but like I didn't like when you're like do side projects. I'm like, but what? I'm not interested in side projects. I don't really have like I wasn't Connor. I'm not Connor who just like constantly wants to craft shit.
It was an attempt, and I feel like I learned a lot as a GM in general, as well as for how to run games like that.
Yeah,
but I mean, I liked it.
I did too. It's still incredibly fun. Just still. Anyway. So let's put aside the point. Anyway, at the end of the day, I'm excited forward to Tributors too.
Yeah. I will probably be doing that after I do my Warhammer one. Because I really want to do the Warhammer one. I'll tell Jester right now, I'm terrified of doing another Star Wars one. Because the last time I ran that, it went on for, what was it, over a year?
Oh, Jesus.
And that
so
was
little XP.
Yeah.
So little XP.
That was over a year, and I feel like we only canceled it 2 or 3 times. Like, it was a weekly thing, and I feel like we only missed like 3 or 4 weeks at max in that year. And the only reason it died was because Roll20 killed it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind rolling another Star Wars game. I would have the same problems I had last time, where I'd need to have someone, probably Jester, set it up so I can do the API format, or just use the other. No, I would have to use the API format when I. Oh well. Anyway, I wouldn't mind running another Star Wars game, but at the same time, I don't want to suddenly end up with another year of Star Wars.
Sure, that's very fair.
I wouldn't mind something long term like that, but at the same time, it's one of those things, because I had a lot of fun running the Star Wars one.
Yes.
But
yeah,
I
get you.
I wouldn't mind another long term, multi month, or even a year long game that I run, but at the same time, it's one of those things where it's like, I really want it to be a game where I actually enjoy running it. Mm-hmm. And by the end of Star Wars, I didn't enjoy running it.
Right, that's fair. And I would offer to run it, but like I said, I have so many games on my docket. Like I'm doing, at the moment, I'm doing Fallout. I'm doing I'd start doing Wrath and Glory. And I have so many games on my docket, like to-do list. Like it's not even funny. I got like Delta Green, Call of Cthulhu. We still need to do Call of Cthulhu. Um, oh, by the way, that reminds me, Jester. Octum Cthulhu got its 7th edition release.
You gonna invite me and Drew?
I haven't bought the books yet.
But when you do buy me, you're gonna invite me and Drew?
Yeah, of course.
Yay! Wait, what are we? The Allies or the Axis?
We'll figure
Yes.
that. Look, I'm not letting Drew play the Nazis like he always does.
Hey,
What do you mean? No,
You
that's always
do.
me
Every
playing
time
the
I ever watch you play an RTS game, I'm canceling you in front of everyone. Every
Okay.
time I've ever seen you do that, you always play
because
the
I
Germans.
want to play the. It's no fun to play the guys that won. Anyone
like the
can
German
play Hearts of
one.
Iron and win as the British or the Americans. It takes actual skill to win as the Germans.
But yes, no. So yeah, Octum Cthulhu got its 7th edition release, and the 7th edition like translation or version. I'm excited for. But so like other than like those games, I also got like oh fuck, what even is on my docket? It's so long at this point. Just like games upon games that I've been meaning to do and just never have, and I'm just kind of like, fuck.
This is
tiring.
But yeah, no. Aside from that, I've also realized I'm no longer involved in any games as a player.
Yeah. I think the only game I actually play in is yours.
And I only played in yours and Connor's, and well.
EMF Connors.
By the way, I will be busy when school starts up Tuesday and Thursday, before I forget.
That's fun.
But only
I
for
don't
like
have
3 hours.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah, no,
Sure.
I don't know.
I'm gonna try so hard to bring back fantasy.
Here's the
For the
sad and
badge.
disappointing thing. Even if you bring it back, first off, I want to say this. Quad, you never had him as a GM. It was one of the most fun I've ever had, and is the only reason I am going to I got back into Warhammer. It rekindled my love for fantasy, and D&D to a lesser extent, but I loved his
I mean,
Viking version of it.
so here, look. I don't have a problem with you as a GM Jester. My problem, and why I'd never
Yes.
have someone like Connor run Warhammer Fantasy, is that like I know a lot about Warhammer Fantasy.
Oh, just so you know, I did not break the rules. The only thing I did was I made a fun thing, one thing that was it, which is entirely possible. And everything, if you looked at fantasy, it's a stretch, but it's within reason and can 100% happen.
What
I
is it?
don't break that. Ask Drew.
Just tell me.
Everything was
is it?
fairly lore friendly, as much as we could know, because we went into a lot of parts of the world that we just didn't read too much about, other than a basic description of it. As for what he is talking about, a dark chaos dwarves essentially set up a base on our island because there was Grumworld on it, and
I don't mind that. It's just what bothers me. It's just kind of like with Connor, what pissed me off to no extent, which is like when you're talking about like running Warhammer Fantasy game. He didn't want to do it, but he was just kind of like, well, I don't like when it's just like, okay, I know a lot about Warhammer Fantasy, not nearly as much to do about 40K, but there's not as much to know. But I know a lot about Warhammer Fantasy, and so it's frustrating to me when I'm just like, okay, you run it, and I'm like, but that's not how it works. And there's like, I don't care. I didn't know, so I just did what I wanted to do. I'm like, that's
I'm like you, Quad. If I know how something works and it's supposed to go this way, I'll do it that way. Like how the Norskin, how they're meant to be Norskins, and they are Norskins, and they don't kill everyone they meet because Norskins are both raiders and are both traders, so they can do. It gives them the opportunity to do both.
we did trading, not nearly as much. We had a bad habit of we never got to break it because the game unfortunately died, but we tried.
Bretonian was their raiding nest. They
Yeah.
always went to Bretonia for raiding.
We went to raid in Bretonia. We did mercenary work in the Southlands.
I mean,
No,
so
not
like,
Southland.
look,
What's Tilly?
hold on. Let me just say, like I'm okay, I'd be down to try. Also, I want to say I feel bad for. I am interested. I know we're going to do it in probably second edition, but right.
Yeah.
Yep. Yes.
I think so. I don't know.
I-
I have both books. They look the exact same.
I feel bad. I want to try fourth edition, which is the new one recent, because it's getting a lot of love from Cubicle 7. And it's actually, I think it's still out of all the D1, it's out of all the 40k systems currently being produced, it's still in the D100 system.
I
Article.
would have. I was looking at it, and I was about to, but I wanted to. It's missing out a lot of books that I can look through and just grab. Like, ooh,
Right.
I need chaos because they're Norscar. Book doesn't have it. Okay. Lucky for me, because very little people have decided to go magic, and I'm like, oh, thank the Lord.
Yeah.
Right. No, I get that. And I will say, I was very grateful when I saw, I was like, oh, thank goodness, because, like, I figured out a way to convert D100, like, character blocks into Wrath and Glory stat blocks.
Damn.
It's odd, but I managed to figure out the conversion. It's a fucked up conversion, but I managed to figure it out. And it actually works. Consistently.
Quad is the brainchild of our operations.
I'm the spawn of Satan, but yes. But no, I figured out how to do it, and it actually works. And so that's what I've been using for, like... But the thing is, it works primarily with, like, first edition Dark Heresy stuff. Because once I can't do it with second edition stuff, because second edition Dark Heresy, the stats become a lot less consistent with each other. And I'm
Yeah.
sure we've all played and all run Dark Heresy. I'm pretty sure Justice run Dark Heresy. Like, we all know, like, with second edition, like, the stat blocks, they feel okay, but they don't feel balanced to each other. Whereas with Dark Heresy first edition, all of the enemy, like, all the NPC stat blocks felt very internally consistent. Like, your average Joe had this in these stats, and if it was above that, you could figure out just how better they were compared to others. Whereas with Dark Heresy second edition, it's just kind of like, okay, well, where do I even begin?
The Unnaturals, though, were a bit more unforgiving or forgiving, depending on who you were in the first editions.
True. But anyway, I figured out how to convert the first edition D100 stuff into Wrath and Glory. Wasn't easy, but I figured out how to do it. And I was happy to have that because I can also use that with the old Warhammer Fantasy stuff as well. And I had a huge argument with Connor over that. Like, Connor was like, why the fuck would you ever want to have fantasy shit in Wrath and Glory? It's just like it's worse stuff that it's the worst version of 40k when it comes to its monsters. And I'm like, because, Connor, sometimes you want to have stats for, like, beasts and random-ass monsters for just, like, random-ass monsters. Maybe I'm not looking to, like, convert the orcs from fantasy, because I have 40k orcs. I was so pissed. Anyway, rant over.
Yeah.
But I really wanted to try the 4th edition system because it's getting more books all the time. And I understand that, Wrath and Glory wasn't made by Cubicle 7. They just kind of picked it up and made it playable. But I have to say,
They've done good work.
And they have done a lot of good work. But I just have to say, it's so sad to me that the Cubicle 7 has the creative license for 40k. They have a Warhammer Fantasy game, an Age of Sigmar game, and a 40k game now. They have all three. And none of them use the same system. They're all different. Because Wrath and Glory is a D6 dice pool, Warhammer Fantasy is still D100, and I don't even know what the fuck Age of Sigmar is. but I know it's neither of those.
2d20.
It might even be a D20 system. Hey, don't you knock the 2D20. The 2D20 is actually pretty good.
I haven't played the 2d20, so I'll knock it all I want.
It's pretty good.
I've played it before, so I don't know. Don't get at me, I'm innocent.
But yeah,
I'm an innocent gobbo.
I don't know. I think Jester, you and I are gonna at some point gonna have to butt heads, not aggressively, but put our heads together to see which one. Because I feel like at some point, like if I ever want to get to any other games besides My Only War, I'm gonna have to just run them at the same time. And I've been thinking about starting a weekend game for the Warhammer one, but I just haven't gotten around to talking to the primary two players, you two, and then figuring out who the hell I would add to it.
Chase wants to join, apparently. Apparently you invited Chase.
Did I?
Yeah, apparently made
Look, this is long off topic. I want to discuss this in private, so maybe we should end the
Yeah.
We will.
here.
Thank you all for watching our one hell of a show.
Yeah, episode 2. Episode 3 will come out in 3 months.
Yeah, thank you all
Well,
kindly
technically,
thank you all kindly for putting up with our bullshit. You're very
True,
kind.
technically, if you're cheap, you can cut this half and make it 2.
Not that cheap.
Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, good night, good luck, and
Yeah.
Good morning.
Buy my book.
good now.
If 100 copies of my book are sold, I'll give you a quad.
It, no, because then Eggy will buy 100 books.
I'm okay with this.
No, you're not raffling. No, if you buy 100 of his books, he'll let me and Jester out of our cages. Please send help.
No,
He's
giving me
he's giving me this thing called corn.
Okay, goodbye, ladies and gentlemen.
Like currently, I'm doing 4. I have one on Tuesday, one on Wednesday, one on Friday, and one on Sunday. And the only one I'm actually playing in is your Friday.